It is Brad and John. We are here on what am I going to say? I'm still in the Westplex mode. We are here on Eggburt, Eggburt, Eggburt.com. Check it out. It's a radio station. The owner is Eggburt, and he lets us be on the station. After we get done, it's 8 to noon. It's, who is it? Armstrong and Getty.
Armstrong and Getty.
Noon to 3.
Eric Erickson.
Very good. And 3 to 6.
Markley, Van Camp, and
Robbins,
that's right.
Yeah, very good programs all the way through. And yes, all of them are a conservative bent, but yet they're not hitting you over the head with it. They all have a lot of fun, especially Armstrong and Getty. Very entertaining show, as well as Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. And what they do on Fridays especially, they do song contests on Fridays, which I think is sort of interesting. They go back and they pull a topic. The 10 best movie songs you've ever heard, or like the 10 best songs when you grew up, that were a big part of your life, stuff like that. Anyway, check that out. Okay, our final break. I don't know if you saw this or not. The story of Hunter Biden being indicted in California. Did you see this?
Of all places, California, Brad.
But did you read those numbers?
I didn't read the numbers. What are they?
It's crazy time. They broke it down. I'm trying to see. Let me see if I can find it. They broke it down by how much money he spent. You can look at the whole thing. They've got the entire indictment on here. I don't know how many pages. Somebody said, let me go to the very end of the thing. Can I even read it? What page number is this? It is 55 pages long, something like that, the indictment against him. Essentially, it's 56 pages of this indictment, okay? And essentially what they're saying is he spent, in some respects, 6 figures on sex club memberships. I mean, it's just bizarre.
He must have had a coupon if he only spent 6 figures. He must have had been a member of some loyalty program.
Well, the crazy thing about it is that they're essentially saying the indictment, and I'm sort of giving maybe a synopsis that maybe isn't totally accurate, but essentially they're saying, hey, Hunter, instead of spending all this money on this crazy, weird lifestyle, you should have been paying your damn taxes.
Yeah, the quote I have from the Associated Press here is that the prosecutor says he paid for strippers, luxury hotels, and exotic cars, and drugs. In short, everything but his taxes.
Exactly. That's what they're saying. They're saying in 2019 alone, he did not pay $200,000 worth of income tax. Now, that's 1 year. Now, John, when you get to the point where you are paying 6 figures of taxes, that means that you are easily into low 7 figures for income. Get what
Absolutely.
I mean? Well, maybe not necessarily, but for sure in the mid to upper 6 figures for income if you're paying $200,000 in taxes. It depends.
Easily. Now, I would also go hire a new accountant, because everybody knows that if you're that rich, there's got to be a way to evade all this, right? You put it in the Eggburt Philanthropic Fund. Right. You send it to Washington University's endowment. Yes. You do something, right?
Well, but the interesting part of that is, and that it's funny you should mention that, that's one of the pushback phrases, or one of the pushback points that the Republicans have used against the Democrats. Because remember, Joe Biden, we were going to hire 80,000 new IRS agents.
Yes.
But they're not going to go after anybody who makes less than $400,000. If you know anybody who's rich, and I know a couple people like this, once you get into that point where you become very wealthy, you have the best accountants, you have the best tax attorneys.
Yeah, absolutely.
And unless you're lying to them, which could be the case, but in most cases not, unless you're hiding something from your attorneys and your accountants and CPAs and stuff like that, they're going to essentially account for every single penny.
Absolutely. That's right, because you can afford it. You can afford the best help.
Right.
Absolutely.
Whereas a guy like you and me, couldn't afford a silk stocking law firm for as a tax attorney. We couldn't afford some of the more prominent CPAs in the St. Louis area who literally will not touch some clients unless your net worth is at least $1 million.
Yep.
And the bizarre thing about this is, as a parent, and I know your kids are younger, my kids are all adult, and to the point where my oldest son, he wouldn't be upset if I talked about this, went in some directions he shouldn't have gone in. And I knew it, and I tried to pull him back in. And I'm not trying to say, wow, I'm a great father or anything like that. I'm trying to say that's what you do. You know what I mean? That's what you do
absolutely.
when you are a parent. How in the world did Joe Biden let his son go so far off the rails? Now, if you know the whole Joe Biden story, there's a lot of sadness in it. When he was first elected to, I believe, to the Senate, when he first was elected to the Senate, his wife, with his, at the time, daughter and 2 sons, Hunter and Beau, were in a horrendous car accident where his wife was killed and his daughter was killed. And I think both Beau and Hunter suffered some severe injuries. Obviously, then Beau, not too long ago, I guess 5-6 years ago, Beau Biden, who at the time I think wasn't the Attorney General in Delaware?
In Delaware, I think, right?
He had brain cancer, died a very sad death.
Very young,
died of brain cancer. I mean, as a parent, that's got to weigh on you. You know, you lose your wife, you lose your daughter in a car accident. Years later, you lose another one of your sons to brain cancer. You know, I've heard it said that one of the saddest things in life as a parent is that if you outlive your kids, or at least one of them.
Nobody should have to go through.
Right. That you hopefully will go before your kids go. That kind of a thing. But yet, this thing, and what's crazy about it is, let's go back to the laptop deal, okay?
Yep.
Once again, how many CIA and FBI officials signed off on that before the election in 2020? Say, oh, it's all Russian disinformation.
Yep.
And now it's to the point where it's like, okay, it was all true. And first off, you hear stories about this all the time. There was one just the other day, I think it was in Missouri, where I think it was, I hear these things and I should take better notes on it. But essentially what it came down to was a guy and his girlfriend had, some intimate times together. They videotaped him. They broke up. And years later, he's using that against her to essentially,
extortion.
Extortion, things like that. Okay, first off, why videotape that? I mean, right. I don't quite understand that. Can anybody explain that to me? Because of the fact that nowadays, it's not like the old days where if you have a camera that has film in it and...
you just hide the VHS.
I will tell you, I shouldn't tell this story, but I will. There's 2 radio guys here in St. Louis who used to be part of a team. I don't want to give any names. And one of them was getting married. And the other one had a bachelor party.
Oh, man. Here we go.
And they hired a couple of women to show up at the party. And
to serve food.
Yes, to serve food. Exactly. Okay. And one of the guys there at the party was a professional photographer, had a couple of his very nice Nikon cameras, and was essentially saying or taking pictures of these women, shall we say, performing at the party.
Right.
And everybody was getting a little bit nervous about this. And at the end of one of the performances, he opened up the camera, pulled out the film, and just opened the film and say, oh, wow, look at this. So in other words, he ruined the film. So in other words, he was essentially showing that there were no pictures going to leave that room.
Gotcha.
Okay?
I see. Yeah.
Nowadays, and remember, this happened with a bunch of celebrities, and it doesn't happen as much as it used to, especially the women would take pictures of themselves nude, and then people would hack into their phones and steal the pictures.
Yeah, I mean, you look at every major, whether it's Jennifer Lawrence or, Hope Solo.
And how about who was the sports lady, the ESPN lady that had the situation where
Erin Andrews.
Yes, yep. Right, where the guy who was the maintenance man at the hotel complex that she was staying had put these little spy cameras into the walls and things like that, and had pictures.
What happened, Brad? And real quick, I mean, you're into this kind of technology stuff. You know that changed the way that hotels do their phone system. Because the guy that videotaped Erin Andrews was actually just a super fan and a stalker. He didn't work at the hotel.
I thought he did. No, he didn't work at the hotel.
No, he didn't. He happened to follow her, and then he affixed a camera to her to the people, which is why, by the way, anytime you check into a hotel, the first thing you do is take a square of toilet paper, roll it up, and stick it in the eye hole. That way, nobody can look at your room. That's a John Combest.
You talking about what the eye hole on the door?
Yeah, and that way nobody can see into your hotel room.
Okay.
So that's just a John Combest travel trick. Not like I'm Aaron Andrews and anybody wants to see me brushing my hair in a mirror. But the point is that what the gentleman did, I use gentleman lightly, the gentleman checked into the hotel and he called from one of the lobby phones. He knew that Aaron Andrews was staying there. So he called from the lobby, he called the front desk, and he said, "Hey, I'm here at the hotel. I'm trying to reach my friend Aaron Andrews." They connected this gentleman to Aaron Andrews' room, and on the display, on the digital display of the house phone in the lobby, it showed her room number. So he saw that she was staying in, we'll make up room 2312. And that now he immediately had her room number, just hung up before she answered. And then he affixed the small camera to her keyhole. So that's why today, I forgot what hotel it was, but they immediately changed their system so that the room number that you're connected to doesn't display.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why a lot of them have gone to the smart, or what do you call them, the key cards, where essentially there's no number actually on the card. Like in the old days, you get a key that had a number stamped into it, and you know exactly what room you were in, and somebody would see your key and they know, oh, he's in room 5203. But boy, that's crazy stuff.
And I was convinced, by the way, and I was wrong about this. I was convinced when this happened that this was an Aaron Andrews publicity stunt. Because if you happen to see the video, and I'll confess to have watched the video immediately after it came out, she looks as if she's preening for the cameras. And I thought there's no way the woman simply brushes her hair in a mirror and looks that beautiful and then looks like she's performing. But it turns out she was really just doing her thing, brushing her hair, and she didn't know that it happened.
Well, John, that's what I do in the mirror. I brush my hair, and
I mean, we all brush our hair, right? But I wouldn't click on a video that said Brad Hildebrand brushing his hair in the mirror.
But see, I have the advantage of taking my hair off and working on it.
That's right. You're alleged to pay
with it not on my head, so I can do it that way as well too. So anyway, going back to the Hunter thing, I'm thinking to myself, how does your father let someone go so far astray? Now, once again, there's something that's come out, and I don't want to sound like I'm bashing the president, but there have been several times when there's been, from his PR people, he calls all of his grandkids every single day. Now, I'm thinking to myself, I call BS on that, okay?
Can't possibly do
I
that.
call
Right.
BS on that because of the fact that first off, and some of his grandkids are not like little kids anymore. Wasn't the story that one of his grandkids, who I think was in her late teens or early 20s, had some stalker coming after him? Wasn't that the deal where the FBI or the Secret Service interdicted somebody who was like stalking her or something like that? Okay, so how in the world do you have enough time to run the country and talk to all your grandkids on a daily basis? Now, let's say you're over in, like he's traveling over, into 12 time zones away from us, and it's 6 o'clock in the morning there, and it's 6 o'clock at night there. Do you think he's getting up in the morning? Oh, I got to call my grandkids. Oh, got to call.
Yeah, of course not. I mean, it's just an exaggeration or a lie.
Well,
that nobody bothers to fact check.
Well, once again, if Trump would have said that, they would have said,
for sure, yeah.
He's what a terrible liar he is. He doesn't even know who his grandkids are. He's probably got kids. He doesn't know who they exist. That kind of a thing. Oh, man. Okay, we're into the final couple of minutes of the show here. Wind it up. Anything you want to talk about? We talked about this morning. I'm seeing interesting things on the internet. Pushback on Taylor Swift. The NFL fans are saying, we don't care about Taylor Swift. Give us more football.
I think Kansas City Chiefs fans, if you had to survey them, I haven't seen a survey, but I think they've probably had about enough. And, Taylor Swift will always have her fans. There's a crossover between Chiefs fans and Taylor fans. But at a certain point, it just becomes, okay, how many times can we see her cheering on her boyfriend,
Yeah.
You can buy, you can buy the Taylor Swift Time magazine. She's Time Woman of the Year. You can buy a set of all three. I've heard about this. I don't know if you've gotten your collector's edition of that magazine yet, Brad.
I have not. Okay, let me end this with what I got a funny email yesterday. Email addressed to me. It's from Jen Forden, F-O-R-D-E-N. Hi, Brad. I'm an external segment sourcer researching fitness businesses and professionals that could be a good fit for a New Year's show on local stations like Fox, CBS, NBC, or ABC. I've been checking out what you do as a personal trainer and believe we could get you on air talking about your work. Reply yes if you're interested. How did she know
Reply yes, Brad. Why not?
I did. How did she know about my great personal training work that I'm involved with? How would she know that? I mean, I didn't tell you. You didn't know that until I told you that recently, right?
I know. I think she's probably been following you to area club fitnesses or perhaps Lifetime Fitness or any other company that could advertise on Eggburt.
Right.
And then she wants to put you through a New Year's resolution program
Right.
where we could track your progress. Can we pitch that to like a club fitness?
Yes,
I
call
think
them
that'd
up
be
today.
great.
Hey,
You
I'll
and
call them
I
up today.
could go through the Brad and John show could go through an hour at Club Fitness. We could have a whole package. We could track our progress. I don't want to work out, but you could work out.
We could get free memberships for the year because hey, I got this lady who's going to put me on ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox.
We dangle the carrot. Brad.
And if you'll give us both free memberships, we'll bring her and her TV crew in, and we'll feature your gym showing us, or no, me as a personal trainer. John,
Yes.
have a great weekend.
You too, Brad.
We will talk again on Monday morning at 7 o'clock. Don't forget.
Thursday morning.
Excuse
me. Thursday morning.
Monday morning. Oh, that's right. You're gone. Okay. Armstrong Getty, they're up next. It's 8 o'clock.